Hi everybody, Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to be a part of a video hop with Altenew featuring their new July release. I have a couple of projects that are featuring the new Altenew BetterPress plates. This is also my first look at the Spellbinders BetterPress system. And when you get the Spellbinder system, you also get a plate, and it has a gorgeous floral cluster and 2 sentiments. But I'm going to be showcasing the new Altenew plates. You also get a pack when you buy the BetterPress of card panels. These are 118 pound, nice and thick, and then you have your BetterPress base. So these are the 2 Altenew BetterPress plates, the Floral Engravings and the Dainty Flower Garden. I'll show you both of them so you can see the magic. You also get some ink and some tape when you buy the BetterPress system. Okay, so this is my first look. I haven't worked with this before. There are 3 little kind of plastic laminated sheets that when I looked at the booklet, it said to put those underneath your magnetic base thingamajiggy. Hopefully I'm doing this right. I have watched a few videos, but you know, there's always a bit of a learning curve. And then, so I'm putting one of those 118 pound card panels on the plastic. This probably has a bunch of terminology, but I'm going to call it plastic plate. And I'm taping it down temporarily with that yellow tape. It's just kind of a temporary tape. And then now this BetterPress grid mat is magnetic. So it's going to hold your little BetterPress plates, hold them in place while you're inking them up for the most part. So this is the Altenew one. I believe this is the Dainty Flower Garden. And I'm going to take this ink. Now, I'm going to do a couple cards with the ink that comes with the BetterPress. See how many times I can say BetterPress. I'm going to start to say ButterPress here in a minute. I can just feel it coming. But in the end, I wanted to try using one just with regular dye ink, some Altenew dye ink, just see how it worked. And delightfully, it worked beautifully. Okay, so I'm inking this one up with the black ink that came with the system. I did notice when I'm pouncing away here, because you do got to like pounce away, I moved my sentiment. It kind of shifted. So I took a little tool here and just kind of popped it back into place. It is a magnetic mat, but that's a tiny little sentiment, and I probably was just pouncing a little too aggressively. Okay, so then you carefully put this plate on top. It kind of snaps in place. If you've watched videos, which I'm sure you have, you know, you're familiar with how this works. And then you run it through your Spellbinders die cutting machine. And I just went one pass. I didn't go forward and back, which is usually what I do when I die cut. But I didn't here because I wasn't sure if I would get some smudging or whatnot. Again, this is my first look, and I was quite impressed. There were no smudges, no over, what do you call it, no over whatever. It just worked like a charm. Now I knew I wanted to take that same bloom and kind of flank it in the top left corner, you know, like one in the bottom corner, one in the top corner, kind of framing that sentiment. So I'm lining this up. I really love how that mat is magnetic, so it kind of holds it in place. I don't need the sentiment again. And now I'm going to pounce away with that little black ink pad. I have read some reviews about using a full-size ink pad, and they say it can get a little messy. They found you get better results when you use a smaller little cube. It doesn't get quite as messy. Okay, snap that little plate back on top, run her through the die cutting machine, and I gotta tell you, I feel like I'm having much better results than when I tried initially to do the hot foiling. I'll tell you, with that hot foiling, that can drive you bonkers. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, for me at least. But this one here made me feel like I knew what I was doing. It's a little easier learning curve, and for me, pretty fantastic results right out of the gate. Now I'm going to test out the other BetterPress design by Altenew. This one is called Floral Engravings. It's a larger cluster of blooms. It kind of fills up the whole top half or bottom half of an A2 panel here. Again, I'm pouncing on that little black BetterPress ink. Just trying to get good coverage. You don't have to press hard. It's just kind of a light tippity-tappity. And I'm not bothering to go outside of those lines where it goes outside of the A2 markings. I know that's going to get cropped off anyway. I'm going to end up cropping my panels, and I knew that. So you just need a light pounce. So once you get that inked up, you flip over your clear plate, snap it into place, and again, run it through the die cutting machine. How's everybody doing? We're into July. Here in Illinois, she is hotty toddy boom balati. She is. Hank is jumping in the pond multiple times a day and having just a hot summer. Look at how this one turned out. The detail is incredible. And I love to see all these different designs. Now here's the third one. I took that same floral engravings. I flipped it down into the bottom corner and the other sentiment option that was in that same set. And now this time I wanted to try something. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but this is the Ride the Wave Fresh Dye Ink for Altenew. Came out with the Amy Tangerine collection. So these are her hand-picked colors, but collaborating with Altenew, and I wanted to try it with a BetterPress. I know it's probably not recommended, but you never know until you try. And I do love this perfectly happy blue. It really reminds me of some letterpress that I've seen in the past, so I wanted to give it a go. I actually would like to try a couple of different colors on one, like ink it up with a few different colors. Maybe somebody's already done that, I just haven't seen it yet. But so we're giving this Ride the Wave blue ink a try, and wait till you see it. Now this one I don't turn into a card, but look, I mean, it turned out pretty fantastic, and I love that blue color. This would be really pretty on like a red card base, kind of a nautical feel or something. Okay, so I'm going to trim down my panels. You don't have to. They are A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But I just like to do a little crop, and you get a nice little border around the edge. Pop it up, because dimension is life. So there we are, trimming off just a 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. And I'm going to do a little ink blending on this one. And then the other one, I'm going to strip it up. You don't have to add any more. These are beautifully simple. You could do a little flick on some gold, or but ink blending is another way. You could also color in those blooms with certain coloring mediums. I know I have seen people watercolor with this BetterPress ink, and it turned out pretty darn good. I don't know how Copics work with it. I haven't tried. I will tell you, when I was doing this ink blending, there wasn't any like smudging going on with that black ink. It did not smudge. It did not smear. It stayed crystal clear. So I'm doing a little aqua blue mixture. I'll have all the colors linked in the description box. These are all ones I just had handy from the Amy Tangerine collaboration with Altenew, and I really love her bright, happy color choices. So some blue and aqua on the bottom, and then on the top a little peachy keen. Again, I was nervous about doing that peach ink over top of that black ink, but I'm happy to report she didn't smudge. Nope, she didn't smudge. Now I would say I did let it dry for, this was the first one I did, and then I went on to do a couple more with the BetterPress, so it did give it a little bit of time to dry. Maybe that might help to let your ink completely dry, but I didn't have any problems with smudging. I'm going to amp up that orange with some Tangerine Dream. So a combination of Tangerine Dream and Peachy Keen with that aqua on the bottom. It's a delicious kind of tropical mixture. And now on the other one, not that you need to add anything, but I thought, why not zhuzh it up with a little color? I'm going to strip it up. So I'm using the Altenew tape runner, one of my favorite tape runners, by the way, and I have used a lot of tape runners. And I just went ahead and trimmed some strips of solid color cardstock and random thicknesses, random brands. I just pulled it out of my stash and did a little warm tone, little array of strips, kind of red, pink, coral into the yellow. Not much, just a little dab of color to give that black and white a little contrast. So I'm going to trim this out into a little strip, the same width as the panel here, and I'm going to pop it up to give it a little dimension right underneath that sentiment, keeping it very clean and simple. You could definitely get more funky with this, but again, this is just kind of like my first look with the BetterPress. I'm excited to push it a little further in the future. I'm popping these up on some simple white card bases. I love that border around the edge. It just feels like it finishes it off to me. And now for this card here, I pulled out an array of sequin mixes that I have. Anybody have a ton of sequin mixes? And I pulled from each bag just one or two that kind of fit with the color combination and just scattered them. Maybe I went overboard. It's debatable. And then now for this stripped up one, I used some enamel dots in coordinating colors. Sometimes I just love enamel dots. I hate to use them. I like to hoard them. But I really, really love how they look on cards. They have that glossy look to them. They're very pigmented in color. And it's just very clean look to it. So I kind of staggered them, framing the sentiment here and there, using my retractable needle tool for perfect placement. And these two cards are finished. I love how they turned out. You can customize them in a lot of different ways, or you can leave them very plain and simple. Make sure and check out the rest of the video hop. All the information about the video hop and the giveaway is in the description box. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.